All right, peace, family. Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother Anthony. This is my first episode of Tech Building Podcast. I'm gonna try to keep my episodes relatively short, only a half an hour, because I know that I could talk for a while, but I want to keep the episodes nice and concise. This first episode, and I know my friends that I talk to all the time, Dre and Jew, they're gonna know a lot of the content that I'm gonna be putting out right away because I talk to them frequently. And one of the reasons why I'm even doing a podcast really is so I don't blow up the group chat with 5-minute long voice notes. You know what I mean? So this first episode I think is good. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna kind of be setting the tone for I guess the rest of certain levels of content or certain levels of conversation I'm going to be having about just general kind of things. You know what I mean? I guess I'll start off first with this tech building podcast. I'm a member of Nation of Islam. Go by the name Anthony X. This podcast is going to be just kind of general. I'm into video games. I'm into the esports world. I'm into battle rap. I'm into hip hop heavy. Probably doing some album reviews. Also into sports to a degree. You know what I mean? I was really heavy into sports a few years ago, but I would say as of late in my life, I'm not super into sports anymore. A little bit. I don't get into politics crazy, but I do have opinions on the goings on of people, especially black people. So I'll be talking about little things like that. Kind of whatever I feel like is pertinent to discuss or things that I want to get off my chest. I'll just use this platform for that. So this first episode, we're going to be talking about GOATs or the GOAT. You know what I mean? Excuse me. And so the GOAT conversation, I think, has really changed a lot. You know what I mean? So I was born in 1989. I don't mind to tell my age. And how I grew up talking about the GOAT was like big. You know what I'm saying? That's what we did. I don't want to say it was a big deal, but that's just what we did. You know what I mean? I grew up watching football and the Deion Sanders, Jerry Rice, Barry Sanders. You know what I mean? Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? Steve Young. Different players like that. Michael Irvin, one of my favorite players of all time. You know what I mean? And I grew up very competitive. You know what I mean? Video game sports as a young man. Just very uber competitive. And being the GOAT, that was just a frequent topic of conversation. Also in the hip-hop sphere, you know what I mean? I know everybody heard of Top 5 Dead or Alive, you know what I mean? And so that's just what we did as friends. A lot of whatever age group that I was in, or whatever my friend group was at the time, that's how we talked about things. It was just, it's part of, to me, it's a part of fandom. You know what I mean? I think the conversation has kind of gotten, I would say, soft. You know what I mean? I'm going to just be transparent about my personal feeling about it. I feel like it's gotten a little bit soft, but I would say that it's a part of fandom. You know what I mean? I think that's what we just do as fans. So the first segment that I want to get into with this conversation is, what does the word GOAT mean to me? So this is going to be kind of split up because I'm going to give my GOATs later on in the show, but what GOAT means to me, obviously everybody knows the acronym greatest of all time. You know what I mean? I think to me, okay, yeah, so I'll give my criterion also as well. If I could put a definition on the word outside of the obvious greatest of all time, I just feel that you were of a supreme level of excellence on a consistent basis and also reached the pinnacle of, your respective sport, whether that be or any endeavor. So that be hip hop, that's cooking. You know what I'm saying? I'm a chef by trade. Obviously now sports and even in video games. You know what I mean? You just at the top level, and then you're not only are you at the top level, but you're also known for the displaying of supreme mastery of whatever the craft is that you're involving yourself in. You know what I mean? So that's just a very blanket, general sense of what I feel like is the GOAT. A person that just demonstrates supreme mastery of their craft, as well as reaching the pinnacle of their respective field of human endeavor. So with that, My brother calls this a very, he says it's a controversial take. I guess you could say it's controversial, but this is I say opinion because it is, but this is going to be supported with, I feel like, objective fact. You know what I mean? I strongly disagree, very hard disagree, with Tom Brady being unanimously, I think unanimous is fair, being unanimously accepted as the GOAT. Hard disagree. I actually could not disagree more. And to be quite frank and to be completely transparent, I'm going to try my best to do that on this podcast. I think it's laughable. I think it's very funny. You know what I'm saying? If somebody says that Tom Brady is the GOAT, I'll be laughing. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's silly. But the reason why I even got on the Tom Brady case, if you will, you know what I'm saying? I guess Allah, God wanted to put this in my mind for me to just build on it to help me with my rationale, my psyche. But the only reason why I even think about Tom Brady in this way is because when I used to grow up watching Super Bowls, you know what I'm saying? I used to watch Super Bowls with my dad all the time, going back with the Cowboys in their heyday in the 90s, all the way up into the early 2000s, you know what I mean? When Carolina was great. I mean, obviously the Patriots were very great. You had Tampa Bay beat the Giants 2001. You know what I mean? I used to watch Super Bowls all the time, and I never heard, I would say, language that would be discounting to the winning team. You know what I mean? I would never really hear the phrase, oh, he only won because, they only won because. Typically when I would watch a Super Bowl or finals in the NBA, whatever, you would always just applaud the winning team. They did, you know what I'm saying? Tampa Bay had a great defense, and they captured a title when they beat the Giants. I believe it was 2001. But so when the Giants, I would use the terminology lucked up to be in the Super Bowl, because, and that's why the language that could be taken in multiple ways. I don't want to say lucky as in they were not qualified, but it came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It was a situation where no Giants fan would sit back and say, yeah, I think this team is going to go to the Super Bowl. We were able to put things together and get hot at the right time. And again, I'm very careful with that language, and I'm going to go back and explain why that language I don't think is a different, there are different connotations to that language of getting hot. But we put pieces together at the right time, put wins together at the right time, and ended up getting to the playoffs. That's why I would say we so-called lucked up, or we were able to find ourselves in a position that we didn't think that was really in our reach. You dig what I'm saying? So when the Giants won the Super Bowl, and if I'm not mistaken, I always forget the first game, but I believe it was an NFC South opponent, and we played either, I believe, the Carolina Panthers or the Atlanta Falcons. I believe both years we won, we played one of those other two teams. But I can go back and do the research on that. I always forget the first game. But then we went on to beat, in that 2007 season, I believe it was an NFC South opponent. Then we went on and played the Dallas Cowboys when they were, I believe, 13-3. Also, the Green Bay Packers when they had Brett Favre, played Green Bay, both playoff runs. And then the obvious Super Bowl, the infamous Super Bowl, the 18-1 Super Bowl with the undefeated at the time New England Patriots versus the New York Giants. So this was my first experience with hearing, and again, I grew up always where people were talking about, I'm saying, winners, losers, success, and failures, and things like that, great teams and whatnot. That's really been my life. I would hear the terminology, well, Eli Manning only won because he had a great defense. Eli Manning only won because of this. He won because of a lucky catch from David Tyree, sticking to 2007. So that said to me, and I'll give another little tidbit about myself. I have an opinion. I do. Somebody asked me what's my favorite ice cream. Vanilla is trash. Chocolate is great. I would never eat vanilla ice cream of my own free will choice. But that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to when we having conversations like this, and obviously in reality of life, people ask me what I think is the problem with black people and things of that nature. I'm not going to give my opinion, because it doesn't hold any weight. You know what I mean? I was using this as a euphemism. I was beat up as a young man with hearing, oh, you biased. Oh, your opinion is biased. You're biased towards Jay-Z. You're biased towards the Giants. You're biased towards this. You're biased towards that. One thing that's odd to me about being biased, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick to a half an hour, but the one thing that's weird about being biased means, so if something beneficial happens for me or somebody that I like, somebody that I know that's my friend, does that mean I could never speak the truth about them because I'll be considered or looked at as biased? You know what I mean? That's something that was weird to me. But that language was beat into my mental so much that at this point in my life, at 31 years old, about to be 32 on the 17th, my mentality is I don't even regard my own opinion. Especially, again, when we're having a conversation of the caliber what we're talking about and beyond. So I began to study. Okay, so but beyond that, I'm gonna go to 2000. I believe it was 2012 we won again. So I believe it was another NFC South opponent. Then I forget the it might have been San Francisco that we beat in 2012. And then we went on to play Green Bay again with Aaron Rodgers. And then we went on to play again the New England Patriots. So in 2007, I was in culinary school, Pennsylvania Culinary Institute in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the brothers that I went to school with, they could bear me witness that after every playoff game, I had an anxiety attack. And I had to call the ambulance. I was like freaking out, thinking I have a heart attack and whatnot, and I have real bad anxiety. But when I seen that it was the Giants and the Patriots in the Super Bowl, I didn't know that the Giants were going to win. That'd be a complete outright lie. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. That would be an outright lie for me to say I knew that the Giants were going to win. I'm not doing that. But what I did know for a fact, I'm gonna give my politically correct response. I grew up watching Kobe. Kobe is my man. May Allah be pleased with Kobe. I take a lot of my competitive mentality from Kobe and others. Like I said, Michael Irvin as well. Many others, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in an era where you had to be nice. You had to be good. You know what I mean? To be able to even be in the room. So if you weren't at the top level of whatever you were doing, I think you suck. But I feel like I knew that Tom Brady was there to be had. I'll say it politely. In my mind, if I'm in the Giants locker room, yo, this guy sucks. He's about to get up out of here. I knew Tom Brady was out of here. He was for the taking. And then that subsequently happened. Then in 2012, it was 11 or 12, one of those 2 years. I'm sorry if I get, I believe the Packers won in 2012. Giants won in 2011. In my opinion, if you better than me, and you know you're better than me, and your team, you know what I'm saying? We got lucky. You know what I'm saying? We lucked up and happened to get you out of here. Okay, cool. That means that's like your little brother or somebody, your little cousin beat you in Street Fighter, beat you in Madden, beat you in 2K, and you was just playing, you know what I'm saying? You wasn't really, you know what I mean? You wasn't going hard. That next time that y'all hit play on the game, next time y'all line up in the game, you're going to make sure you get him out of here. You're going to make sure when the next time that y'all play, you're going to make sure he know who's better and who's not. You know what I mean? You're going to make sure of that. So Bill Belichick regarded as the top 2 coach all time. Tom Brady regarded as the greatest quarterback of all time. And I feel like definitely even at that time, that talk was still at the forefront. You definitely going to get the Giants out of here the next time. And again, I didn't know Giants were going to win. Tom Brady, you suck. I know you're out of here. Okay, cool. So they ended up winning in 2011. You know what I mean? At this point in time, I don't really want to hear nothing about Tom Brady because of what I knew before and because of what I knew after those 2 games had happened. So now here is my position and here is my understanding of how I analyze players, performance, and I would say GOATness. You know what I'm saying? Your GOAT attribute, if you will. Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick, very late NFL draft pick. And I promise, brothers like Dre and Jew, once I get this out, once I put it on the airwaves, I promise, like I'm not talking about it again. Because you know what I'm saying, like I'm not talking about it again. Tom Brady was a low-round NFL draft pick, very low. So then the person will say, well, Tone, you can be drafted late and have success. Cool, not saying that. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because also he wasn't a starter in college. On paper, your tangible skill set, 40-time, arm strength, and whatnot, your measurables were low grade. Now, again, there's another player that I think they kind of go hand in hand, so almost, not to me, but I understand. LeBron James and Tom Brady. LeBron James's measurables, the things that you can sit back and say about LeBron, speed, strength, you know what I'm saying, scoring, whatnot, all the different measurables of basketball, LeBron is ranking very highly, obviously, coming out of high school. You know what I mean? So your measurables are very high. So Tom Brady, not a starter in college, comes to the league, not a starter in the pros, obviously. 6th-round draft pick or whatnot. Drew Bledsoe gets hurt. Everybody knows the story. Tom Brady is injected into the starting role. And as they say, and they're, and that was all history or whatever. I don't know how the saying goes, but you know what I mean? Like, and then that began their run. So people say Eli Manning only won because he had a great defense. Okay, cool. Let's break that down. And I want to keep the same energy, keep the same principle. We're taught that Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, and mathematics, things are based on principle. So we're going to keep the same principle that we have with Eli Manning's critique, or let's say keep it with critique. The same thing we're going to do with Tom Brady. And for the topic, for the fairness of the discussion, I'm not going to include anything about the cheating. Even though I think the cheating, that's just I don't even know why we even doing that once a person is caught cheating. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make the conversation fair, even though I don't have to do that. But for the sake of conversation, I'm not going to talk about the cheating, which they were convicted of. The defense for the New York Giants, and I don't remember every single player. I have an idea of both rosters that won the Super Bowl. But starting with 2007. Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, Osi Umenyiora, Matthias Kiwanuka. Those were the main guys. We have also had some other really good guys that played well, great role players. But main 2 guys, Michael Strahan, Osi Umenyiora. Once you get off of the defensive line level of the New York Giants, there is not a B or A caliber player in any other aspect of the defense. Oh, I would say also, no, I'm sorry, Antro Roll. Yes, sir. Antro Roll is a problem. He's a beast. Not a beast. I don't like using that language. He was very good. The majority of the defense was D or C tier ranked from my perspective. Anybody, I'm open to hear your argument that they weren't. But I feel like it's indicative of their record as the caliber of talent that they had going into the season. And I also think you can look at the ranks. Now, if I have ever come back to this topic, I will show the defensive ranks. They weren't high overall. Might have been high in the sack category. So when a person says, oh yeah, so I want to rebut well, if you have a great defensive line, that makes up for a great defensive back end. That's a fact. I don't disagree at all. That's a fact. But once you parse the defense and you make the statement, he only won because he had a great defense, I want us to keep that in perspective, okay? So when we say great, the pinnacle of greatness, I would believe, in any sport is the Hall of Fame. Eli Manning has played with one Hall of Famer. And in my estimation, as much as I love that defense and that team and the players I'm going to mention, they're not making the Hall of Fame. Osi Umenyiora, Justin Tuck, intro roll. Those three players, as great as they were for the Giants, they're not making it to the Hall of Fame. Okay, so Eli Manning does not, I don't even think he has another possible Hall of Fame inductee on the defense. Okay? Tom Brady, I guess it would be conversely, played with who are in the Hall of Fame, and I'm doing this off memory, so if I'm wrong, I don't mind being fact checked. Richard Seymour's in the Hall of Fame. Rodney Harrison's in the Hall of Fame. Junior Seau, may Allah be pleased, in the Hall of Fame. And there's one more name I know for a fact that I'm forgetting that's in. I believe it's Ty Law. I believe Ty Law is in the Hall of Fame. Give me 2 seconds and I want to look that up. I just want to get 2 seconds to look that up. Yes, that is correct. Ty Law is in the Hall of Fame. So that's 4 Hall of Famers that I remember off of memory, okay? Anybody that knows the New England Patriots knows that Vince Wilfork is going to the Hall of Fame. He just retired, I believe, 2 years ago. He's going to the Hall of Fame. James Harrison, strong candidate for the Hall of Fame. Asante Samuel, another candidate to go to the Hall of Fame. There are definitely others. I've done this, I've ran this down before, but we're gonna stick with the actual facts. And hold on, give me one more quick second. I'll probably just go ahead and edit this down. Okay, heard that. We have Richard Seymour, Rodney Harrison, like I said. Willie McGinnis is the name I was forgetting. So, okay, let me just wrap that up now. On the defensive side, we had Richard Seymour. Vince Wilfork is going to the Hall of Fame. That's free. That's going to happen. Richard Seymour. Vince Wilfork. Willie McGinnis. Rodney Harrison, Ty Law, Junior Seau. So that's 5 in. The 2 players that I know I know Vince Wilfork is going. James Harrison, strong candidate to go to the Hall of Fame. Yes, I'm counting Junior Seau. He played on the team. That's a Hall of Famer. They had great success with him on the team. He was on the field when Eli Manning threw the game-winning touchdown over his head. I don't know what we're doing by saying, oh, he only played for 1 year. What does that mean? Okay. So you have now, and there are, and the Patriots, Dallas Thomas, Brewski, Mike Vrabel, you go down the roster. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you go down the New England Patriots defensive roster, and you're gonna see that the defense is lit. You dig what I'm saying? Beside the fact of them having these players in the Hall of Fame, but the New England Patriots defense is lit. Been that. You know what I mean? So now you have the Giants with 1 defensive Hall of Famer, no potentials. With Tom Brady, you have 5 players on multiple levels of the defense that went to the Hall of Fame, that are in the Hall of Fame. 2 possible, so to speak. Vince Wilfork is not a possible. He's going in. So at the end, so when we come back to this conversation, that's 6 Hall of Famers that are in the Hall of Fame that played for Tom Brady and New England Patriots at the time of them making it to the Super Bowl. 6. And I feel like I'm missing like 1 or 2 more, but I'm gonna leave it alone. Then if you wanted to talk about on the other side of the ball as well, you play Randy Moss, you know what I mean? Adam Vinatieri, probably one of the best kickers. I'm not even probably one of the top 3 kickers of all time. Hall of Famer, you know what I mean? Kevin Falk is in the Hall of Fame. I just seen that. So now we're getting upwards to 10 Hall of Famers. Nobody on the offensive side of the ball for the New York Giants, besides Eli Manning, is going to the Hall of Fame. No one. As much as I love those players, and this is not a disrespect to them. So when a person says, and mind you, now again, Patriots were 18-0. New York Giants, I believe, were 9-7. You know what I mean? So at the end of the regular season, the Patriots were 16-0. Giants were 9-7. So when you say to a person, Eli Manning only won because of defense, how are we not keeping or carrying that same principle to Tom Brady? Okay. Now we're getting to the GOAT status, your GOATness category. Okay, I want to touch on performance. Anybody that watched those Super Bowls knows that the game was in the balance. I believe this is definitely in 2007. The game was in balance. Gronkowski, another Hall of Famer, he's going. That's a lock. So now we're damn near at 10 Hall of Famers. Gronkowski, Tom Brady, this is before the end of the half. He throws a Hail Mary. I guess you could say very similar to Eli Manning and David Tyree. But he throws a Hail Mary pass. No, the first thing that he did that was wrong, he had an intentional grounding call in his own end zone. Because he didn't want to get sacked. Tried to throw in the middle of the field. Cost the team 2 points. Then he threw a pass. This might have been in 2011. I could be mistaken. But this is all tying into performance. He threw a pass to Gronkowski. It was like a Hail Mary kind of situation. And again, this will let you know the caliber of the players that we're talking about. Gronkowski, Hall of Famer, potential. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. It's just a formality. Versus Chase Blackburn for a jump ball. Nobody know who Chase Blackburn is if you're not a Giants fan. He's a special teams specialist. That's what he's known for. Won a jump ball situation against a Hall of Fame tight end in Gronkowski. Come on now. And these little things, I'm not going to get too excited. These little things is what really makes you who you are. I'm gonna catch that ball over you. That's what's gonna happen. I don't care if you're tall, I don't care if you're faster, I don't care if you're better. I don't care about that. That doesn't change. That's not gonna change what the outcome of this is, what it's gonna be. Okay? Tom Brady throws an interception when the game is in the balance. So not only is it a turnover, not only is it an interception, but you gave away you tipped the game in the scales of the other team. You gave them an advantage. That's not what GOATs do. We're not doing that. Now we're going to so yeah, I just want to touch on that performance. I mean, because he was getting sacked crazy in 2007 and similar in 2011. Justin Tuck and whatnot. Those boys, as Stephen A says. So now we're going to the GOATness. Your GOAT. I just lost the word, but for the lack of a better term, your GOATness, your GOAT attribute. Okay. Excuse me. For me, GOAT is the combination of your talent, skill, and your accomplishments. Your accomplishments bear witness to your talent and skill. So you could be talented, have a lot of skill, like a Charles Barkley, Dan Marino, but not able to capture your championship. That's a problem. that to me, you can be in the top 5 type of category conversation. I'm not mad at that. But you have to reach that pinnacle of your field of endeavor in order to be a GOAT. I'm sorry, I'm going to go. I promise this episode's not going to be long. But this first episode I'm very passionate about. And I want to get all this off my chest. So please bear with your brother. So the combination of skill, talent, and your accomplishments, okay? Tom Brady's talent level, low. Tom Brady's talent level, low. And that's indicative of you not being a starter in college, or that the reason why we can back that up, you're not a starter in college, not a starter in the NFL, and you were a 6th-round draft pick. So what you presented on paper, low grade, okay? When a person sits back and say, if I ask anybody right now, what does LeBron do great? What does LeBron do better than anybody else? Say LeBron using an unstoppable force. If LeBron wanted to take the ball and get a 2-point layup, he's going to do that. Can't do nothing about that. You say, oh well, what does Steph do better than anybody else? That answer is obvious. When you ask somebody and you say, what does Tom Brady do better than anybody else? Now, I've obviously asked people this. People say win. People say he's a great leader. Winning is team. And how do you, and we'll get back to that. Don't get caught up on that. We'll get back to that team part. How do you quantify leadership? How do you know if somebody is a good leader or not? Because they on the side talking to their team? Because that's what they said on the commentary? What does Tom Brady do better than anybody else? Oh, well, he's very accurate. Aaron Rodgers is very accurate. Pat Mahomes is very accurate. How do we separate? So again, when you say Tom Brady is the GOAT, not only are you saying that Tom Brady is better than or greater than Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, you're saying that he's the best of all time. Another way I break this down is, if you're having a 5-on-5 pickup game or a 3-on-3 pickup game in basketball, and we had the ability to where you have Michael Jordan, where he's playing ball in his prime, you have LeBron James, you have like KD, you have Chef, you have Kyrie, you know what I mean? And then I'm gonna finish that. So if you have those players, Jordan and LeBron, they getting picked in the top 2-3 picks. That's free. That's going down. If you have a 7-on-7 football game, and you got quarterbacks out there, you got Russ Wilson, you got Lamar, you know what I mean? Lamar Jackson, you got Pat Mahomes, you got A-Rod, you know what I mean? And then you got Tom Brady. The only people picking Tom Brady are Patriots fans. If you saying you're going to say, I'm going to pick Tom Brady in a 7-on-7 football game, stop. Stop that. Come on, bro. We're not doing that. When you play a 7-on-7, it's about the talent, about your skill. Tom Brady doesn't possess a skill that you could say, what separates A-Rod and Tom Brady? As far as skills, as far as talent. Aaron Rodgers can do everything Tom Brady can do. Tom Brady can't do half of what Aaron Rodgers can do. He can only do half. There's a 50% level of his game that he cannot do. How was this person better? On Madden, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers got the same 99 rating. How is that possible when Tom Brady cannot run better than this man? So Madden's trying to tell me that he's head and shoulders more accurate than Aaron Rodgers? Stop. He got more arm strength than Aaron Rodgers? Stop. So when we have this complex of saying that Tom Brady is the GOAT, to me, again, what makes it funny is he does not have the raw talent and skill to be considered that. My final comparison, again, I like to use LeBron because LeBron is considered the GOAT of basketball right now. If you took all the championships away from LeBron James, and let's just say he was like a Charles Barkley of sorts, LeBron James' talent level so high, he would still be considered in the top 5 or maybe, the top 3 of basketball, because his talent level and his dominance is so highly rated. If you took these, I don't know how many Super Bowls the man don't won now at this point, 7, 8, I don't know how many the man won at this point. If you took the championships away from Tom Brady, nobody's even talking about this man. So, my last point on this. People say Michael Jordan, LeBron James are considered the best. Let me take a sip of water real quick. People say LeBron James and Michael Jordan, that's generally speaking the unanimous top 2 players of all-time basketball over the many generations and whatnot. I may have to pause because this gentleman is coming over to my car. All right, excuse me, we back. So, right. People say that Michael Jordan and LeBron are the pretty much the unanimous top 2 players of all time. Whoever you have at number 1 is up to you. But nobody mentions Bill Russell. I've never heard a person say Bill Russell is even in the top category. You know what I mean? Which is weird to me. Because of a player like Tom Brady. That's the reason why I even think about it. Bill Russell has won 11 out of 13 NBA Finals. They created the Finals MVP trophy because of him. It's named after him. So then a person will say, oh, well, Tom, man, it was only 8 teams back in the day. Okay, cool. Heard you. And then my other bro said, it really wasn't that many great players back then. Okay, heard you. No problem. The AFC East division is by far one of the worst divisions in the history of the league. The Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, and the New York Jets are historically one of the worst teams in NFL history. So when we're talking about talent pool, if a person sit back and say, man, if I'm going to at least get 4 wins in my division, I'm at least get 5 wins in my division. Somebody luck up, the Jets luck up and beat me. I finished 5-1 in my division. You'll take that. I'd love to see how many times the Patriots went at least 4-2, at least in the span of their run. Also, the amount of controversy that surrounded, the reason why I'm talking about this, because you have to be, if we're gonna delve into Bill Russell, that's what I'm saying. And we're saying that Tom Brady is better than Aaron Rodgers, for an example, because he has 6 or 7 titles, or however many it is, I believe it's 7. That's the weightiest element of the conversation. I can accept that. It's no way that you're telling me that Bill Russell, he's not even in people conversations. Because like I said, it's only 8 teams, and it's, you know what I'm saying, these different types of things. So now I'm going to do the same exact thing for Tom Brady. You played in one of the historically worst divisions in the history of the league. The amount of controversy that surrounds this team, the tuck rule, things of that nature. All of these things contribute to your greatness, or your success, rather. Not great. I'm not going to do all that. So on the one hand, we as a culture, we don't want to look into the details like with Tom Brady. The Hall of Famers on both sides of the ball, the great Hall of Fame coach, you know what I mean? Organization, you know what I mean? 2, with Bill Russell, we want to get all up in the mix. It is what it is with Bill Russell. So as I get ready to close out this Tom Brady segment, again, I have to get everything off my chest. Well, people say, well, Tone, Tom Brady went to another team, if it was really the Patriots, and it was more about Bill Belichick than Tom Brady, he went to the Bucs and they won a Super Bowl in the first year. That's fantastic. I'm going to say this. This was the team in 2018, I believe, or 2019, whatever the year before, I believe it was 19. So the year before Tom Brady went to the team, these are the stats, offensive and defensive, of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before Tom Brady. 302.8 yards, so 303 yards per game, league high. Jameis Winston, 5,109 yards in 2019, league high, franchise high, 8th highest in history. 33 passing touchdowns, second most in the league, franchise high. 398 yards per game, third in the league. 458 points, franchise high. 286, that's 458 total points for like the season, cumulative, franchise high. 28.6 points per game, third high, up from the 12th spot in 2018. 54 total touchdowns, third in the league, franchise high. Chris Godwin, a so-called unknown name, is not a household name, not like a Mike Evans or not like an Antonio Brown, not like a OBJ, not like a DeAndre Hopkins. You know what I mean? Not a household commonly heard of name. Chris Godwin, so-called unknown name, 83 catches, 1,333 yards, and 9 TDs. Brother was third in the league in yards, tied for second in the league in TDs, and he missed the last 2 games of the season. I believe it was due to injury. Okay? Now, we go over to the defense side of the ball. Number 1 rushing defense, 73.8 yards per game total, and 3.6 yards per carry. Number 1 rushing defense. Most passes defended with 96 in the league. 5th in takeaways, up from the bottom 5 of the league in 2018. 21 forced fumbles, 3rd in the league. 6 defensive touchdowns, tied for the league high. Most in franchise history. Now, this is the Bucs we're talking about. Known for having great defenses over the years, or a span of time for having a great defense, period. 47 sacks, 7th in the league, 2nd most in franchise history. Warren Sapp, what's my other brother name? I'm forgetting his name right now. It's escaping me, but 55. When Tim Bay was in their heyday. Derek Brooks, Hall of Famer. 47 sacks, 2nd most in franchise history. So this is now, you know what I mean? This is not an easy feat to accomplish. So now we go, they were 2nd in QB hits, 116. Shaq Barrett with a league high, and again, this is high pedigree, franchise high, 19.5 sacks, and he also led the league in QB hits and 2nd in tackles for a loss. This is one brother now, Shaq Barrett. So now, if I'm Tom Brady, and he got much more access to. They were also 1st in yards on offense. Okay, so if I'm Tom Brady, and I'm pretty sure he has a lot more analytics. He got to view a lot more analytics than me, than via the internet. The problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that season, which I believe they finished 2nd in the division in 2019, which was the same exact finishing spot of 2020. They finished the 2020 season with Tom Brady in the same spot they did as far as division placement in 2019. Same place. In 2nd, behind the New Orleans Saints. But the problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2019 before Tom Brady, Jameis Winston threw 30 touchdowns. He had like 30 interceptions. Brother was turning the ball over way too much. Can't have that. You can't have success throwing that many interceptions, turning the ball over that many times. So if I'm Tom Brady now, and I'm looking at this young team, all I got to do is drive the Ferrari. I don't have to do too much. I'm a conservative type quarterback. I like to throw short, intermediate passes, and I'm not going to turn the ball over. Tom Brady is the greatest system quarterback of all time. Man, it could go on. I have to touch on it because I'm not going to come back to it again. So the greatest system quarterback of all time sees this kind of potential. If you're browsing a cryptocurrency market, you're browsing the stock market, and you see this level of potential, this is an easy sign on. Then you bring on a Leonard Fournette, former top player, top running back in the league. Damn sure looked like it in the playoffs. Antonio Brown, former top wide receiver in the league. Rob Gronkowski, Hall of Famer, going to the Hall of Fame, tight end. Great blocking tight end as well. You bring in these pieces, Cameron Brate, also a underrated role player, in my opinion. Role player. You bring in these pieces with this strong potential. Also, I believe Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator. Bruce Arians, great head coach. The offensive coordinator, the name is escaping me, but also pretty good, I believe. If I'm wrong, I accept it. This team was on the cusp. It wasn't like Tom Brady went to the Browns and won the Super Bowl. It wasn't like Tom Brady went to the Bills and won the Super Bowl. This team was on the cusp. And before I leave that point again, in the NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers, Tom Brady threw... Excuse me for that. Tom Brady threw 2 fourth-quarter interceptions. 2 of them. I'm going to say it. I got to say it again. In the fourth quarter. Hold on a second. Tom Brady threw 2 fourth-quarter interceptions. Okay? In the playoffs, in the championship game. That's you said, okay, I'm ready to go home. That's what you said to the team. Like, all right, guys, I try my best. I'm ready to get up out of here. But with this strong defense headed by Shaq Barrett, led by Shaq Barrett and JPP, shout out to my bro JPP for sure. Once a Giant, always a Giant. They secured and made sure that they punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. So it wasn't people say, oh, well, if they didn't have this, they wouldn't have been the Super Bowl. If it was not for Tom Brady, they would have had an easier road to the Super Bowl in that game. He gift wrapped the Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers. But the strong defense, again, Eli Manning only won the Super Bowl because of defense. Tom Brady won that game, that particular game, people are saying, oh my God, Tom Brady's the GOAT. After what they just watched. That's a problem, or that's just ignorant. That's a joke to me. That's a meme to me. Okay? Tom Brady is the greatest system quarterback of all time. Very quick, I'm going to address this then. By Allah's permission, I'm gonna put this to rest. When you get a Mike Vick or you get a Peyton Manning, you're now catering and changing your strategy and how you run your offense around this player. When Peyton Manning walks into your meeting room, your quarterback meeting room or your offensive meeting room, all right, Peyton, what do you think about this here? What are your thoughts on this here? When Tom Brady walks into your meeting room, your quarterback's room, all right, Tom, this is what we got. I know you're going to hold it down. Here you go. This is how we're going to run the offense. You're not catering or changing anything behind a quarterback like Tom Brady. That's what I'm saying. He's a plug-and-play great performer. Doesn't turn the ball over. Stays poised. Very competitive. You're not somebody that I'm worried about. And again, people, this is a fact. Maybe I'll have a brother come on and bear me witness. I knew Tom Brady was out of there. I couldn't have been the only one. So Tom Brady, all due respect, I feel like it's giving him credit. You're the greatest system quarterback of all time. But the GOAT is, you're now extracting a player from the team dynamic and you're analyzing them on the individualistic dynamic. And Tom Brady does not measure up strongly individually. Okay. I'm not the type of person. Once LeBron beat and the Cavs, whoever, I think it was the Cavs, they beat Golden State Warriors. LeBron earned my respect. I don't have nothing negative to say about LeBron. I have nothing negative to say about LeBron. I got great respect for LeBron. He's the top 2 player of all time. My only thing that I would say to LeBron is, or anybody that likes LeBron, it's hard to say that this person, that LeBron is better when you have 6 or 7 losses in the finals versus somebody that's never lost. That's tough. Me also too, I'm not a fan of LeBron's attitude. Again, I grew up in the era where we could be best friends. When I'm on the field, I want to kill you. Then after the game, we could be friends. LeBron I feel like he's very friendly. You want to be cool with everybody. Everybody want to play with LeBron. He's very nice. That's great. That's not what I look at in the GOAT. I'm not gonna go crazy on LeBron. I got big respect for LeBron. You know what I mean? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this episode up. Let me just pull my little notes up real quick. So my GOATs that I have, anybody want to go ahead and comment on my GOATs? IG is Tech Building Podcast, at Tech Building Podcast. We can have a conversation. I'll also make a Twitter too, Tech Building Podcast on Twitter. We can talk. My GOATs are, in football, I have Peyton Manning as a GOAT. And I'm talking about quarterbacks now, right? Quarterback, greatest quarterback of all time to me, Peyton Manning. I feel like with his 2 Super Bowl rings and his I pretty much laid out my criteria in the beginning. I felt that he was a supreme example of mastery of the quarterback position. The Omaha, the listening to the audibles and whatnot. Peyton Manning, I feel like he really brought that level of that integration of the in-depth analyzation of quarterback language into the main stage. You know what I mean? Great quarterback. Very, very talented. I feel like he just exemplified what it meant to be a great quarterback. A sheriff. You know what I mean? Basketball for me, I never really got to watch Jordan. I got Kobe as the GOAT for me. I'm not a huge basketball fan. I'm not going to go crazy. You know what I'm saying? You say who you say. Again, I got big respect for LeBron. Obviously got big respect for Michael Jordan. I grew up also a big fan of T-Mac. You know what I mean? I would say even before Kobe, I really liked T-Mac. But yeah, Kobe's my GOAT in basketball. And I'll definitely save this particular topic for another episode. But in rap, in the hip-hop sphere, I have Jay-Z. I don't even think it's a conversation. I think if we're talking about greatest hip-hop artists of all time, I don't think it's a conversation. It's other people who you like. We can like, I think Styles P one of the best ever to do it. Jay-Z, it's undisputed. You can't do nothing with that. Also, man, I'm a big fan of Street Fighter. You know what I mean? I got Daigo as the greatest Street Fighter player. I think that's probably unanimous as well. You know what I mean? Just really enjoy watching the ingenious display or the supreme display of mastery of his craft. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are my GOATs, main ones. Like I said, Peyton, Kobe, Jay-Z. If anybody into the FGC, I like Daigo. You know what I mean? As my GOAT. Any Halo fans out there? I got, to be honest, man, that's a really tough choice. But I got Roy, you know what I mean, as my GOAT of Halo, for sure. But again, I love to have that debate with anybody that's a Halo fan. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody if you stuck around this long in the podcast. Man, I'm gonna be doing episodes at least twice a week, God willing. And like I said, it'll be a variety of topics. You can reach me at Tech Building Podcast on Instagram, Tech Building Podcast on Twitter. And yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to doing more of these. It's very cathartic for me. Oh, battle rap. Oh, I'm sorry. Battle rap GOAT. And again, I'll say this for another time. Battle rap GOAT. For the longest time, it was Murder Mook. Pretty much the entirety of my life has been Murder Mook as the GOAT of battle rap. But I have to say, Mook, and I'm sorry, I know you probably never listened to this, even though I still got, you know what I'm saying, it's like 1A and 1B for the GOAT. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan name dropped Loaded Lux on the rostrum. So I'm sorry, Murder, but I gotta give it to Loaded Lux as the GOAT. You get name dropped by the man of God, I'm sorry, bro. He has to take that spot. But still, like I said, it's a 1A, 1B, you know what I mean, for the GOAT in battle rap. But my favorite battler easily is Murder Mook. You know what I mean? My top 5, my personal top 5, I got Mook, Lux, Rex. Mook, Lux, Rex. I got Chess, number 5. Man, that 4th spot is real difficult. You know what I mean? I probably had to come back on that, but I know I got Chess in my top 5. I know that's controversial. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up right there. I'm gonna leave as I came before you with the green words of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which just means peace be unto you. Thank you, family. Y'all have a good one. Peace, family. I just had to make a quick update real quick. My Twitter name is Tech Building Pod, at Tech Building Pod, and we can go ahead and talk about, you know what I'm saying, what we got going on. Same thing for the IG. We're gonna do Tech Building Podcast on IG. Thank you. Come and drop me a follow real quick.